Time and time again, I see a first-time home buyer come on the market, look at homes for a few months, and finally find a home that they like, only to have it snatched out from under them by another buyer. Then you have that buyer who thinks they have X amount of money, only to go and look at homes and find out they can't afford the home that they really want. Or even worse, they actually do get the home that they think they want, only to find out that home has a ton of repairs that they were not prepared to deal with. That sounds pretty scary if you're a first-time home buyer, doesn't it? Well, thankfully, you can avoid all those mistakes by tuning into this guide on how to buy a home in 2022. If you're looking to buy a home in 2022, you've come to the right place. What's going on? My name is Rob Bailey, Realtor here in the Chicagoland area with Arnie Realty Inc. And whether you're a first-time home buyer or someone who's bought a home before and is looking to buy another one, I'll be offering some tips to help you get your dream home in 2022. Anyone who paid any attention to the real estate market last year know that it was a crazy seller's market. And I mean, it was about the most heavy seller's market that I've ever seen before. It seemed like no matter what home went on the market, there were about 5 or even 10 offers on it, and a lot of them were above the asking price. That means buyers had little to no negotiating power when it comes to buying a home. So if you even tried to negotiate, the seller would just look at you and say, hey, I can find another buyer who's willing to do it if you aren't. With the pandemic going on, no one expected the real estate market to quite be like that. So it caught a lot of buyers off guard, and a lot of buyers eventually just backed out of the buying market because they thought it was just too hard to find a home. Now let's flash forward to 2022, and I think buyers are going to be a lot more prepared. We all know that now buyers have little to no negotiating leverage, at least not at first. Stick with me and I'll give you a tip that where you might have a little bit more negotiating power and some leverage later on, or maybe you can ask for some money off. But at least at the start for now, buyers have little to no negotiating power. Buyers now are aware of this, so basically they're not going to come to play this year in 2022. Buyers are going to be prepared, and if you find a home that you like, you're going to have to come with it. There's no playing games anymore. With that being said, let's get started on how to buy a home in 2022. Your first step, now that we know that we really need to be prepared if we're going to find a home, is to first speak with the mortgage lender about getting pre-approved for a loan. Now, in this market, you're going to have your ducks in a row. As I mentioned before, the buyer competition is fierce, and these buyers aren't going to be playing around. So if you don't have your ducks in a row and you don't have your money right, then you're not going to be able to get that home right away, because there are going to be 5 to 10 other buyers who do have their ducks in a row that are going to just snatch that home from you. This is why it's so important to speak with the mortgage lender before you start looking at homes. So that way you can know your budget and you can know if you do qualify for the money that you need to get the home that you want. Without that, you're really just guessing at the end of the day. So that's why you need to speak with that lender right away. I know, most buyers do not want to speak with the mortgage lender first, because that's not the fun part, right? Nobody wants to speak with the lender and talk about finances. You want to go look at homes. That's the exciting part. But trust me, in order to get to the exciting part, you have to do this part, or you should do this part first, so you can know exactly how much home you can afford and exactly what price you can afford. Once you have your lender and your pre-approval in place, your next step would be to sit down and really think about the type of home that you want, or what you want in a home. As I mentioned before, housing inventory is very low. That means good homes aren't going to come on the market that often. And of course, if they do, they're going to be snatched real quick off the market. So if you want that home, you're going to have to make a decision pretty fast about whether you want it or not. To be able to do that, you're going to really need to know what you want in a home. That way, when you do find it, you can go after it without hesitation, because once again, buyers are not coming around to play in 2022. Once they see the home they want, they're going to go after it. So you have to be that same way and have that same mentality. You should really have a clear goal in mind in what you want in a home. Do you want a home with 2 or 3 floors with enough space for you and your family? Are you looking for a home with a finished basement so you can have that man cave? Are you looking for a home with a fenced-in backyard for your pets? I mean, really sit down and decide what your must-haves are in a home. That way, when you do see that home on the market, you'll know when to go after it. After you have a clear picture in your mind about the type of home that you want, your next step is to contact a realtor and let them know what type of home you're looking for so they can get started on finding the process for you. Let your realtor know how much you're pre-approved for and the type of home you're looking for so they can get started on showing you the homes that are available for sale. And also, as far as looking for homes, this should actually be a joint process between you and your realtor, meaning not only should your realtor be searching for homes for you, you should be searching for homes yourself. Now remember guys, this is 2022, so you have access probably on your phone to all the homes that are for sale on the MLS or that are available in your area. So you don't just need to wait on your realtor to send you homes, because you might miss out on a lot of homes that way. Only you really know or have a clear picture in your head of what you want, so that way when you're scrolling on websites such as Realtor.com or Zillow or Redfin, if you find that home right away, you can send it to your realtor and say, hey, look into this home for me, or hey, set up a showing for this, I need to see this right away. And that brings me to the next step, which is the fun part. It's time to start getting out there and looking at homes. Whenever you find something you like, call your realtor and have them set up the showings and start taking a look at the home. Once you get there, make sure you take your time and look at the home thoroughly, because remember, once again, there's a lot of competition with buyers. So once you have that one look, you might not get another chance to look at it again. And there also might be other buyers that are there looking as well. So you might not have that much time as far as days go to take a look at this home before you really make your decision. So while you're there, make sure that you get a good look at everything you need to, because you might need to decide that night whether this is the home that you want to go after or not, because it could be gone the next day or by the end of the week. Once you find that home that you like, that meets all your criterias, that matches your goals, make that offer. Now, with buyer competition being the way it is, chances are there are other buyers that won't hesitate to make that offer if this the right home for them. So you have to be the same way. Remember, housing inventory is pretty low, pretty much nationwide. So if you do find a home that matches your goals, it might be a little while before you find another one. Also, remember that on top of that, there are going to be probably 5 other buyers that also want this home, because if you like it, chances are there are a few other people that like it as well. So if you find the home that you like, especially if it just came on the market, be ready to fight for it and be ready to make a move on it immediately, as soon as you can. Now, when making an offer, there are a lot of strategies out there as far as what you should offer in terms of price, but I would say, especially at the beginning, remember, you have very little leverage and very little negotiating power, because there are most likely other buyers making offers on this home as well. So I would consult with your realtor and think about what the seller really wants and just offer that to them. Give the seller what they want to make your offer look attractive, and hopefully you be able to beat out the other offers and get that home under contract. Remember, this may not be the best time to ask the seller for repairs or to ask the seller for a closing cost credit. In this market, that's a real easy way to get your offer rejected or to get your offer pushed to the bottom of the pile. But remember, once again, stick with me a little longer and I'll give you a little tip, or I'll show you a place where you might have a little bit more leverage so you can ask for some money back or ask for some repairs. The only thing you should be focused on as a buyer right now is getting your offer accepted. Even if there are some things you want to change about the home, if you don't get the offer accepted, none of that matters. So just focus on that one thing first. Once you get your offer accepted, congratulations, you've made it further than a lot of other buyers did in this crazy market. So really give yourself a pat on the back if you actually got your offer accepted. Now, once you do that, it's time to do a home inspection. In most contracts, you have either 5 to 10 days, depending on what you agreed to do the inspection on a home. What you do is hire a professional inspector, and they're going to go over the home with a fine-tooth comb and tell you every single thing that's wrong with that home. Once you have that report, now you might have a little bit more leverage. What you can do if you do find something that needs repaired is you can go back to the seller and say, hey, we noticed maybe a roof was leaking, or we noticed a crack in the foundation here, or whatever's wrong, and to either give me a credit and I can repair it myself and you can give me some money to pay my closing costs, or you can make the repairs yourself. At this point, you have a little bit more negotiation room and more power, because chances are if you found those repairs, other buyers are going to find those repairs as well. And the last thing the seller wants to do is to waste time with another buyer just to end up in the same place they are now. So it's better for them to just deal with you and to most likely give you a little bit of money towards closing costs right now than to cancel and see if another buyer will take on that repair. Now, of course, this all depends on how bad the repair is. If it's something small and you try to ask for some money back on it, the seller may simply say, hey, there are 5 other buyers. I'm sure somebody else would be willing to fix this light switch or something if it's just minor. So it all really depends on what comes back in the inspection report, if you can use it as leverage or not. So always remember to consult with your realtor and your attorney at that time to really think about what the best move is for you to make as far as getting this home. After you finish with the home inspection, the next step is for your lender to send out an appraiser to tell them how much the property is worth. The reason this is so important is because the lender will only give you as much money as that appraiser say that property is worth. So for example, say you agreed to pay $300,000 for this home, but the appraiser goes out and says this home is only worth $275,000. If that's the case, then the lender's only going to give you $275,000 minus your down payment and your closing costs. This could turn out to be either a good thing or a bad thing for you. It could turn out to be good because you might get a discount on the price if the seller says, hey, this is as much as I can get, because an appraisal sticks with the home. So if an appraiser says the home is only worth $275,000, that seller's pretty much stuck selling that home at $275,000 and you just got a $25,000 discount. Now, this could turn out bad for you if the seller decides, I'm not accepting $275,000 for my home. If that's all you can give me, then I'm killing this deal, and you end up with nothing. So that's always something to keep in mind with the appraisal. After the appraisal process is done, the next step is closing. Your lender is going to give you what's called a clear to close, where they tell you how much money you need to bring to closing. Once you have that, simply show up to closing with the money, sign all the necessary paperwork, and congratulations, you've just bought a home. And once again, that is an accomplishment, especially in this crazy market that we've experienced last year and that we're most likely to continue to experience in 2022. So once again, you really should give yourself a pat on the back. Alright guys, that's my video on how to buy a home in 2022. Any questions or comments about that process, of course, feel free to reach out to me either through the comments or through my website, which is BaileyAcresProperties.com. Once again, my name is Rob Bailey, Realtor in the Chicagoland area with Arnie Realty Inc. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good day.